What's up, gang? Hope you're all doing well. What's going on? What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can hear me okay. How you doing? Who do we got on it? Jesse, Jason, Robert, Lori, C. Hey, guys. Hirsch, Big Boy, Yordi, Yankees, Yankee Land 1. We got the gang here. Daily Dose. What's happening, gang? What's happening? Butters. Butters is in the house. Yeah. Can we all hear me? Can we all hear me? Yes, we're good to go. Marek, we got the whole crew here. The 161 Brigade. And I think a lot of you guys were on Derek's talk as well. I was on it too. I enjoyed it very much. For those of you who don't know who Derek is, check him out. Derek Lewandowski. It's NYY Recaps. He has one of the best Yankee channels out there. His content's amazing. So, and I've done a couple of collabs with him. He's awesome. He's a good dude, man. Really good dude. Taz Bogado, Pedro, what's happening? Alan, Ray, Tyler, Christopher. Yeah, fine. We got the crew here. Seymour, Luis, Pedro, Hirsch, Udo. Crew. My fellow savages. First off, first order of business, okay, for the holidays. So anybody in here celebrate Hanukkah, okay? I have my goose, okay? I want to do a shout out to all of you, okay, for not only supporting the channel. We're approaching 6,000 subscribers. I want to say thank you. But for those of you who celebrate Christmas too, there might be a lockout happening starting tomorrow, but it's not going to be a lockout on this channel. So we're going to keep rocking and rolling. There's a lot of good stuff to talk about. So, but I want to give a shout and a shot to you guys, okay? On my gray goose, say happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, the whole works, okay? And here's to you. Oh, damn, that's to you guys. And then I have this. This is my salute. Cheers, salute, everybody. This is, if you've ever been to Trader Joe's, my wife turned me on to this. This is blood orange carbonated. It is good shit. Good shit. I just like to drink it too. So I didn't want to keep drinking the goose because I'm going to look like Gary Busey by the end of the night. So I'm going to, yeah. I met him at a Monster Mania convention a couple years ago, and he was like, he was almost drunk. So, Jeffrey, Xenakis, the whole gang is here. Thomas, what's happening? Scungili, there he is. Centani, cheers. Salute to all of you. Tyler, Luis, Jesse, the gang is up in his plaques, man. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, going on. I'll be checking live time during our chat too to make sure that nothing is reported. But at the end of the day, like now, unless something happens where, like Marcus Stroman, who's signing with the Cubs, he actually flew out there. His agents called him yesterday and said the Cubs were interested. He got on a plane, immediately flew out there, took his physical first, and then signed with him. So at this point, we got 2 hours left. Unless players have passed physicals already, there's very low chance of anything happening at this point. So there's a very high chance of a lockout. So, and then keep in mind, the Yankees haven't done diddly squat, but neither have the Dodgers and some of these other teams. So the Giants and the Red Sox have done a couple things. They signed Rich Hill today, like his versus. It's his 7th time signing with the Red Sox. So, and they signed James Paxton, Big Maple. So they added a couple of depth pieces. And where I'm most frustrated is where I think the Yankees could have added some depth pieces. Role players. Chris Taylor would have been a good fit. Eddie Rosario, like guys, they have so many holes to fill. They could, at the very least, I think, filled them with a couple of role guys, and then kind of pivoted over to either the trades or some of the bigger names. Because what's going to happen now after the deadline, after this lockout, whatever happens, there's going to be a couple of guys a couple of big names left. They're going to be signed quickly, and then teams are going to pivot really quickly to the rest of the role players, and all those guys are going to be gobbled up. And if the Yankees are too late, they're going to be in bad shape. And right now, I think they are a 4th place team. I agree with Derek 100%. And they need to do a couple things to get better. Anthony, what's happening, man? Anthony Barker, what's up, man? Welcome, brother. Welcome. You're always welcome here, man. Welcome to the 161 Brigade and 161 Mafia. Who else we got? Allen is in the house. Sweaty R6. Chris Bryant. I actually like Chris Bryant's versatility. I really do. And I think he'd be a good. You can even honestly, you can plug him. He can play the outfield. You could plug him at first base if you wanted to. If you don't think you were going to be able to get Matt Olson, or you think Freeman was too costly, I would have gotten Chris Bryant, or I would still get Chris Bryant. Mo, what's happening, man? Ian, RL, what's happening? T-Bird. So, but it's very frustrating. It's very frustrating. Obviously, I mean, I'm guessing there's a lot of things in the works, but we really don't know how aggressive they're going to be. They tend to strike last most of the times, but they did a couple of early season things like in 2009. Sabathia, as soon as free agency started, Cashman was in front of his house waiting for him. They signed Garrett Cole in December, so things happen kind of all. They signed Mark Teixeira in January, but I don't know about how many big names are left. I mean, there's Story and Correa for shortstop, and I know they apparently have a bid out for Correa. They've been in contact with him. He already has that 5-year, $160 million offer from the Astros, which he turned down. Nick, what's happening, man? This would have been the winter for them to load up on guys because their payroll just descends over the next 5 years. It just goes down and down and down and down and down until like 2026. They have under $100 million committed to some of these guys. So it would have been a good time to get some guys. Now, I think in terms of the trade market, this is the opportunity to kind of strike hard too. If you're going to get Matt Olson, you got to go for it. If you can, the two. If I would trade for two guys, it would be Matt Olson and Brian Reynolds. That would set the team up with building blocks for the next several years, right? And I think it would be, it would be worth, picking away some of the farm, because at the end of the day, how many of the top prospects actually make it to the major leagues and stay there? Very, very little. Very little. These guys would be consistent long-term building blocks for the Yankees. So, unfortunately, they'd have to give up Peraza. But if they don't get these guys, and I could see Peraza being shortstop, but if there's any way you can get Olsen without giving up Peraza, then you can play Peraza at shortstop if you don't want to go Correa. In a perfect world, Olsen and Correa would be phenomenal, or Olsen and Story. So Olsen, or you can even go Story and Freddie Freeman. The two of them combined would cost less than Correa alone. So there's no news on Rizzo right now, Merrick, that I know of. And I do think that they missed a couple opportunities to upgrade a catcher this offseason. Bronx Talk, what's happening, man? Correa or Seager? Yeah, I mean, Correa. I mean, Bronx Talk, Correa or Story. I like Story because he's just as versatile. He's more athletic than Correa. He's going to cost half the price, and it leaves them more budget to get somebody in other positions, because they still need, even if they bring in Correa, they still have a bunch of holes to fill. Correa doesn't do it alone, right? So they're still going to need first base. They're still going to need another starting pitcher. They're still going to need a center fielder of some sort. I know they have Hicks, but they still need somebody else. And Marte's out. I mean, there's a couple of other guys out there, but at this point, what are they going to do? I think Carlos Rodon's one of the only starters left that's of recognizable name. So they're going to have to trade. I mean, as much as Cincinnati doesn't like to admit it, Luis Castillo is available. So if I were them, I would be, make a healthy offer, or you can go to the Diamondbacks and try to do a multiplayer trade for like Zach Gallen and Carson Kelly. You're going to upgrade a catcher in there. And even though they've tendered a contract to Gary Sanchez, they can still move him. It's no guarantee that it happens yet, but if the National League adopts the DH, then there's opportunities to trade Gary Sanchez. And if for some reason some of them want to trade Giancarlo Stanton, they can do that. Don't really think it's a great idea, but it is what it is. They might do that if the NL adopts the DH. So there's 15 more teams that would want a guy like that. So, and again, he's under team control. And if you think about it, 6 years, $132 million. I mean, for his production right now, that's a hell of a lot less than, it's almost a third of what, the Rangers just paid for Seager. It's less than what Semien got. So it's something to think about. I would hate for him to go, but I could see the logic in getting him. I mean, in moving him. But at the same time, I don't think crying poverty is going to be is the reason why they should do it. You don't want to pay $22 million for Stanton, but you're going to pay $35 for Judge at the same age. That's not going to fly with me either. But again, it doesn't really matter what I think. So, will the Yankees sign a third catcher? I think they should. I think that once the lockout, if the National League DH becomes official, then I think they'd have more latitude to move Gary Sanchez. And if they're going to trade for a catcher, I think it's probably going to be in a multi-player deal. But one of the things that I've said recently is, AIV, I love how aggressive they're being too. I think they need to draft a catcher every single year, okay, in the top 10 rounds. Either rounds 1 through 5 one year, and then rounds 6 through 10 the following year. It's really, really hard to develop and find catchers and trades and stuff like that. So if they have a robust pipeline, not only will they have more guys at their own disposal, but guys that they can use as major trade pieces to get bigger pieces. So it would serve them really well to draft catchers every single year at the high rounds. Okay, guys that actually profile the catchers, not guys like Austin Wells, who's already profiling as a first baseman. Other guys that actually profile to stay at catcher. So I think it would be a good idea for them. But we'll see if they do something like that. I mean, that's something I would encourage. But they have their own philosophy and the way they do things. So, well, that's the thing, Hirsch, too. Yes, they don't develop catchers. They don't have enough to develop is the other problem. And they don't have guys that are really profiling catchers. But you're right. They need to invest, I think, more resources in player development because there are other teams that do a heck of a lot better job at developing prospects than the Yankees do. And if you just look at Tampa and some of these other teams, they draft in the back of the rounds too, just like the Yankees. But they have so many more guys coming through that just make it more than the Yankees. The Yankees have drafted better and developed better a little bit over the last couple of years with guys like Volpe and some of these guys, but they still have a ways to go. They really do. Cubs, Cubs got Yan Gomes, I think. So that probably makes Wilson Contreras available. He's very similar to Sanchez, only has a better defensive profile, and he calls a better game. So I think, pitchers would probably be more willing to or open to throwing to him more than they would Sanchez. That fact that some pitchers don't want to throw to Sanchez to me is a red flag. So I think the Yankees blew an opportunity to upgrade there. And hopefully after this lockout, they'll do it one way or another. And I hope this lockout doesn't last very long. I mean, why these guys have been throwing money around left and right. So crying poverty is not really a legitimate excuse. This is essentially uber rich people on both sides. I mean, exploiting the system. And it's our privilege to go pay $18 for a hot dog and pay hundreds of dollars to take our kids to sit in the third level to watch games. It's crazy. At some point, when does it become a little excessive? And that's one reason why they keep striking so often, because they want more and they want more and they want more. And, it's very frustrating to the fans. So I hope they resolve this soon. I really do. I think the lockout could be, if this is probably going to be contentious because there's so many sticking points. I actually did a video early today about the actual things that there are sticking points. But one of the things that the union wants is to increase the threshold from 210 to 240. Okay, which I get, and it allows teams to invest in other players. But that on the flip side, holding out guys that haven't signed yet, now they're going to say, well, you can pay this guy $5 or $10 million more per year. Well, what has he done between the end of the season and the end of this lockout that's justified the extra $5-10 million? It's just a way of raising prices for players on teams. So where's the logic in that? And this is where I have a problem with those types of things. And but it is what it is. It's the market, or it's a huge money sport. So I get that stuff. I had an idea a while back, and I've had it for a couple of years, but they would never adopt it because it's too controversial. Rodon would be nice. Gallo, I know they were taking calls on Gallo, but I don't think that's gained any teeth. Luis Castillo and Kyle Hendricks. It would be nice, but I'm not sure if the Cubs would move Hendricks now that they're bringing in Stroman. I think they're trying to have a 1-2 punch there, but I know the Reds were taking calls on Castillo and Sonny Gray and one of the other pitchers as well. So they could be taking something tonight, and something might happen already. Who knows? That's why I'll be breaking the news while we're on here if anything pops. So Olsen, Reynolds, and Rodon and Story. That would be a phenomenal offseason. It would be an absolutely phenomenal offseason. Yeah, that's what I mean, Dustin. They have a $200+ million payroll. They haven't made any moves yet. And at the very least, I understand why didn't a guy, bring in a Seager or one of these guys, because their contracts are absolute albatrosses. They are way high, but that's the new market apparently. So, but that said, I think they could have been useful here, bringing in some role players and to fill, because there's a deficit now in the infield, and there's a deficit in the outfield in terms of depth. So they could fill in guys. Other teams are just filling in depth pieces, and the more they do now, the less they're going to have to worry about after this lockout. So the Yankees are probably going to be frantic, and unless they have blockbuster trades of some sort lined up, what are they going to do? How are they going to be better than what they are if they don't do most moves? And again, I said this the other day. Just because Toronto got weaker to a degree by losing Semien and Ray doesn't mean the Yankees got stronger. So they don't. I mean, that doesn't mean that. So, and Toronto, and they've already brought in Kevin Gausman, Toronto. So again, it still doesn't mean the Yankees got better. I mean, it's Toronto's going to invest. I mean, don't be surprised if they get Chris Bryant or somebody like that, and so they're going to be aggressive. And I think Tampa's, they always make these shrewd moves. So they always bring in somebody who winds up being a star and who was not a star before. So, no trade clauses are definitely albatrosses. I think there should be opt-outs instead of no trade clauses, personally. But that's something these agents negotiate. And obviously, if you go with Scott Boras, you're going with the best in the game. And he's the only guy I know that could make a team drastically overpay, but make them feel like they're not overpaying. And they're like, oh, my God, we just signed him to the greatest deal ever. And it's like, really? So he's gotten so many teams to overpay for boatloads, but they feel like they got good value. In a lot of cases, they get good value, but like some of these long-term contracts are just monstrosities. So it's like Jacoby Ellsbury is one example for the Yankees. I mean, he didn't play the last 3 years, and he still counted 20-something million towards their payroll every single one of those years, $22 million. So even if insurance was paying it, it still counted towards their payroll. So that was $22 million disposable money that they didn't have, they couldn't use. So those are the types. Yeah, Mullins is awesome. He's a star, but I don't know if the Orioles would trade him within, unless it's a massive overpay. I don't know that the Orioles would trade him. I could see them trading him to the National League, or to a team like Seattle that has boatloads of prospects, or San Diego, somebody like that. That's what I could see. And now that the Dodgers have brought back Chris Taylor, I mean, I don't think he's a fit there, but he's a fit in a lot of areas, that's for sure. And so is Brian Reynolds. So how are we going to replace Wade? Yes, exactly. I mean, they got rid of their 3 fastest, most versatile guys. And, I would be replacing him with something like with some other guys. Like, that's why I keep mentioning Eddie Rosario. He's fast. He's a good base runner. He's a good defender. Like, and he has this energy and hustle that the Yankees haven't had in a while. And guys like that represent good fits for me. And they're not gonna break the bank. And I really wish they would have done a few things. So I'm really curious. Eddie Rosario, exactly, Aaron. So as far as I know, Torman, Kershaw is healthy as far as I know right now. And let me check to see if anything's happened in the last little bit here. No. Nothing yet. Let me check on the Yankees official here. No. As far as I know, Kershaw is healthy. And my guess is he'll either go back to the Dodgers or probably go to the Texas Rangers. I think Rangers are still looking for another starter over there to pair with Jon Gray. So let me take a look at Yankees Twitter here. The Twitter feed over the last couple of minutes here. Marcus Stroman, now we know that. I know the Yankees have been in a little bit of dialogue with Correa, but I don't know if they're going to pay him $300 million, 300 plus. So we'll see. Could be wrong. Would I take Ozuna? No. I think personally, Marcell Ozuna, anybody going to beat his girlfriend or his wife is not welcome. I don't condone that stuff. So I didn't even condone it. Roldis Chapman thing in, but we don't even know if that was how accurate that was with that one. But Domingo Germán too. That type of stuff is no for me. I mean, if I were the Braves owner, I would have released him immediately. But that's me. So, but look, you can come back if you beat your wife, but if you take PEDs, you get suspended for a whole year. So it just shows how crazy the logic is. But it's just what it is. It's about the money, exactly. About the money. So Severino, personally, he's in the bullpen until he proves healthy enough to transition upward to a starter. I don't want to risk him. That's why I keep saying the Yankees need 2 starting pitchers to complement Cole, to add to Garrett Cole. I really do. And that's what I would do again. But Bauer, I wouldn't do either. Well, he's already exercised his team option with the Dodgers, so they're on the hook for 30-something million unless they release him. Well, they're still going to be on the hook for it regardless. So, but he's another one. Too much headaches. Too much headaches. Rays in Boston. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Raymond. I mean, they've been active. I mean, not sexy moves, but they've been active, making some trades, making some signings and whatnot. So Yankees haven't done anything. So nothing. Can they do trades after 12? No Major League Baseball. You can't even negotiate after midnight tonight. Nothing. Everything shuts down until a new CBA is agreed upon. The only thing that can happen is the Rule 5 draft because they're non-40-man roster guys. No winter meetings, nothing. So, unfortunately. Kimbrel, I heard, well, they're looking to trade him. They exercise his option, and they're looking to trade him. So, we'll see what happens there. I mean, he'd be a good fit. I mean, Ray Iglesias would have been a nice fit here. But Andrew Chafin is a guy to look out for. I would keep an eye on him as a reliable left-handed reliever. He's got good stats. He was with Oakland this past year. Anthony DOA, thank you so much for the dono super chat, man. Almost 6K subs. Yeah, I mean, I think I have like 10 subs away. You're one of my OGs, man. My first 20, man. I appreciate you, bro. And again, another cheers to you. If you weren't here, I got my goose saluting you guys today. So, I'm proud of this channel. I appreciate it. It's you guys, man, that make this channel thrive, man. It's you guys that do. So, I mean, next goal for me is 10,000. So I'm hoping to get there next year. But I appreciate you, Anthony DOA. You're the best, bro. You are the absolute one of my OGs, man. Original gangsters, man. I love it. And I appreciate you, man. Bryant, at the end of the day, Shlomo, he might. I'm keeping an eye on Toronto. I think they're gonna get another bat. I could see him going to Toronto. Campusano is an intriguing option from the Padres because they just got a catcher, and so I'm not giving up Judge. Well, Judge, I mean, to me, and I've said this, the most sensible option for Judge is to make him an extension offer right now. Okay, and if he turns it down, then you trade him, you pivot over because after next season, they're not going to have any leverage. And again, I'm not a favor of giving a close to $300 million extension to someone who's going to be 31 at the start of the contract. They should have extended him 4 years ago. Now it's kind of late. So they can get a haul back and just kind of reshuffle and add these guys. And I think they'd be fine if they moved them. But they have to act now. Otherwise, they lose all leverage. So, but again, yeah, it would be a short-term pain because he's a very popular player. I get it. But if they win, I think they'll be fine. So Jose Ramirez is another one I would be looking at. He's a beast over in Cleveland, an absolute beast. But I'm not sure they're going to move him now because they're actually their rebuild is accelerating. It's going quicker than we thought. So I see him staying there in Cleveland unless they get blown away with an offer. It could have been Cashman's plan all along, but they generally work slow. So and again, the guys that have signed, with the exception of a few, I mean, a lot of them were massive overpays. Like $325 for Seager, my God, $175 for Semien, shit. Like, I mean, so I could see why they didn't sign some of these guys. I mean, Eduardo Rodriguez, that probably would have been a good value. I would have looked at that. Chris Taylor got 4 years, $64 million. I would have looked at that. Guys like that represented good value. So I think those guys could have been valuable pieces here. So, coach, no, they can't do anything, Christopher. No coaches, players, absolutely nothing as far as I know. Nothing, unfortunately. It's a full lockout. Trade for Olsen, Mane, and Chapman. I would do that. I mean, they have the pieces, but you're just going to have to – it's going to hurt. They're going to have to give up a couple of big ones. So, but definitely, I mean, be worth looking into. Again, Anthony DOE, you're the man. I appreciate you. Thank you again for that. Reynolds, Freeman, Judge, Stanton, and Correa, DJ Gallo, Gary Torres. You heard it here first. I mean, Jay, if they brought in Reynolds and Freeman and Correa, dude, I'd be okay with that. So that would be a beast of an offseason, Jay. If they can add the number 2 starter, then I'd be pretty damn ecstatic with that. So people have to realize in New York there's a pressure member, Juan Gonzalez denied. Yeah, there's a lot of guys. Greg Maddux refused to come here too, and they offered him a big contract, and he actually went to the Braves for a lot less. So it's not for everybody, and I get it. It's not for everybody, and they have to understand that. So Yankee money isn't. Not everybody wants Yankee money. So, and it's the fans are relentless, the media is relentless, and just it's a different pressure cooker here. There's nowhere in baseball like New York, nowhere. So I get that. But I still think there's guys that could represent good value here that wouldn't be massive overpays that could help this team. When they were at their best, they had great role players. So, and there's still some guys that they need to get on the board here. Anthony DOE, cheers to you too, bro. Cheers to you. Jose Ramirez, the best. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it, Raymond. No doubt about it. Shlomo Bryant goes where he gets paid. Yeah, I mean Robert, I think that's what Scherzer did, right? He got $43 million a year. I mean, if Anybody who would have given him that money, he would have gone. That's what Boris does. He extracts the most money out of teams. That's what he does. He's the absolute master at that stuff. So, well done, Scott Boris. I mean, it's just, Semien and Seager, they're both Boris guys too. So, and my fear is that Aaron Judge is going to wind up joining Boris Corporation, and then right then and there he's going for the big, and it's his right too. Totally get it, but right there he's going for the big money. So, and that will be, that's just something we'd have to accept, unfortunately, even if we don't want to. Well, I just saw something here. It's just going pretty fast. Trade. I saw a trade here. I don't know where the heck it is now. 14. I think. 12 teams is a lot too. So, and I don't like that proposal where the teams get to pick their wild card. But I don't know. I think that's a little off. Tyon, Chappie, and Britton are expiring. Yeah, they're off the books. That alone is, $35, almost $40 million. What trade is realistic? I think a trade for Matt Olson would be realistic. They can get him. It's just going to cost a lot. He's legitimately so. He's a superstar. I think this is a fair trade. Judge, Chapman, Gil Peraza, Wells, Glaber, Andrew Hart, Medina for Trout and Ohtani. My God. That's a lot of capital for Trout and Ohtani. Personally, Aaron Boone, I would not, at this point, I would not trade for Trout. I would have traded for 25-year-old Trout, but not 31-year-old Trout. Even though I don't really see him slowing down and whatnot, but he missed 100 games this year for a calf problem. So that's a little bit of concern for me. And I don't think Judge Chapman, that's a lot of capital to give up. A lot of capital. And I'm not exactly sure if the Angels are going to move Ohtani either. He's a stud. He's a stud. But that's an interesting proposal. That's a big-ass trade. There's rumors that Sanchez get traded to the Marlins. Any chance Stallings comes back? And nah, I don't think so. Bracchione, I don't think so. I think if he goes there, it'll be if the NL adopts the DH, he'll go there, and maybe one of the pitchers will come back. It'll be Sanchez and somebody for like Pablo Lopez or something like that, and they have Stallings at catching, and he's one of the better defensive catchers in baseball. So that would be my guess that Sanchez would be the DH at that point. He'd be used there for he'd be there for his bat. So you're gonna wait and see if Judge stays healthy. That's the problem here. That's he's. I'm a little. Judge is our superstar, but he's only one player at one position. We have so many holes to fill, and I can appreciate that he's our superstar. I get it. At the end of the day, I think he'll wind up being back, but if they're going to make it a big extension offer, do it now. And if he says no, then he wants the money, and then you move on. You trade him. So their teams will line up for Aaron Judge. Line up. No, Brian's still a free agent, Udall. He hasn't gone anywhere. Yeah, Starling Marte went to the Mets, and Eduardo Escobar and quite a few other guys. The Mets have loaded up, man, and I don't think they're done. Story will be Yankee. Yeah, at the end of the day, I think Story will wind up here, and he's been my prediction for a couple months now. But I'll wait until what I like him because he's versatile. He can move to another position, so they can use Gleyber Torres in a trade if they want. Put DJ there, who's much better defensively at short. At second. And if they have Story, then you have Story and DJ. If they don't, then even if you have Story, you move him to third because they might have to move Gio too in a trade to get like one of these big A's packages. So I don't know. But at that point, you have Oswald Peraza if he's still here. Or Oswaldo Cabrera could be the next Tyler Wade. So Tyler Wade, Trevor Story at the end of the day is versatile. He can move to different positions. So in the infield, and so he won't block Volpe. He won't block Oswald Peraza and those guys. So, and that's one of the things that makes him so valuable. So, and I think that, I think he's best value here, and he's going to cost half the price of Correa would anyway. So Nick Castellanos, he's going to be really expensive though. Apparently he wants a 7 or 8 year deal. I don't know if the Yankees are going to do that for anybody, unfortunately. The only player I could see them doing that for is obviously Aaron Judge. But we'll see. Story, Butters, he's going to cost half the price of Correa. But, and there will be, they can't use Story's too expensive and then spend twice as much for Correa because that would make them look like total fools. But it would. But yeah, Correa's going to get probably $350, I'm guessing. I think he's going to get more than Lindor. And Detroit's not looking bad. And don't be surprised if they bring in Correa too. Detroit, don't be surprised. And you move Baez to second. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think they're done. Olsen, Volpe, Peraza, DJ, Stanton, Florial, Judge, catcher, speed, power youth. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You get Volpe and Peraza in this lineup eventually with Olsen here and like some of these other guys. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. Chapman's a go. When he's dominant, he's dominant. That's for sure. Ketel Marte's another one. Bryce Harper, Tiffany Johnson. I don't think it's going anywhere. He just won the MVP. His value's at all-time high. I don't think there's a chance in the world Philly's going to move him. They're going to want to add and keep an eye out for Correa or a Chris Bryant or something like that as a potential option for Philadelphia too. They can move Didi pretty easily if they bring in Correa. I predicted him to Philly, so. And I wouldn't rule out Boston either for Correa. So, Everson Pereira release me. Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I'm with you there, Hirsch. I totally get it. I don't want to trade some of these guys either, but unfortunately, one of them is going to have to move for one of these big superstars. So, Godfather John Butts, what's happening, man? Captain. All right, we got a couple here. Richard K, thank you so much, man, for the super chat donor, man. Glad to see someone who provides accurate Yankees info. Just don't delve into politics like another guy did here on YouTube. No, I get it, Richard. Keep up the good work, man. Yeah, sometimes people throw some political stuff in here, but we try to limit that, man. So it's too toxic a conversation to have. But thank you, Richard. I appreciate it, man. I try to give you accurate, updated stuff. So there's a lot of other good channels on here too that do it. So a lot of good channels. And it's your boy. Thank you, man. I appreciate it too, man. Thank you both of you, Richard, and it's your boy. Love the channel. Yankees and Angels got something in common. Lack of a good owner. Pistol Angels couldn't re-sign Cobb and sign Strong. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the Angels brought in Carlos Rodon, or finalize a Luis Castillo trade. I think it's possible that they can get a Castillo, and you add Castillo to Syndergaard and Michael Lorenzen, who they just got from the Reds, then he gives them some protection there in the rotation. So, I wouldn't be surprised. Glaber for Luis Castillo, I would do it straight up in a heartbeat. Yep, I would. Glaber, because then you can he's not the answer, I think, at second base. I would move DJ to second. And even if you started Oswald Peraza at short, he would be surrounded by much better defensive guys, which I think would ease his transition back into the Bronx. So, Oswaldo is asleep. Yeah, he is. I mean, he is, and he's got a good bat, man. He's versatile. He steals bases. So him and Oswald Peraza, they do a lot of things that the Yankees don't currently do. And JM11231, I appreciate you too. Thank you so much. Please stop with the J-Rod trades. Not happening. J-Rod. Who am I missing here with J-Rod? I'm having a brain fart here. Who's J-Rod? J-Rod. Somebody tell me who J-Rod is. For some reason, it's not registering to me. I'm just trying to. Bryant Story for the same price as Correa? Yeah, I mean, hell yeah, I would do it. Hell yeah. Carl Pavano, wow. Brett Garner, yeah, no. I wouldn't Anthony Barker. I mean, at the backup maybe, but he's been blocking too many guys. I mean, I think at this point, Esteban Florial should be the backup outfielder. No. Yeah, Oswaldo Cabrera. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of intangibles. He's solid. Julio Rodriguez. From Julio Rodriguez from Seattle. I mean, I proposed something a while back, but at the end of the day, he's probably not going to be moved. He's like the number 3 prospect in all of baseball. So, Olsen is way better. Yeah, Olsen is way better than Rizzo. He's also, I mean, I like him over Freeman too because he's 5 years younger, and that youth is something that number 2 prospect, I believe, from Seattle Mariners. Yep. Did somebody propose the Julio Rodriguez trade here tonight? I missed it. I know I didn't, but I don't think Hicks will stay healthy, unfortunately. Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, I mean, he's a stud, Julio Rodriguez. But again, not every prospect pans out the way that they think. I mean, it's just, but I mean, if he does, he does. I hope he does. So I don't think the Yankees will get him. I mean, the only way that I think the Yankees would get him is if they move Judge there, but I don't think that's going to happen either. So Ketel Marte is a possibility. I mean, I think they line up with the Diamondbacks nicely for a trade. And by the way, if I missed you guys and you want to just repeat or comment, if I missed you, I apologize. It's moving pretty fast right now. Ketel Marte, I mean, again, if you could get him like a Zach Gallen, a starting pitcher, it addresses two holes in one, and you get him with a Carson Kelly, it addresses two holes in one. Like, that's what I think I think those are the types of Hillel. Thank you, Hillel. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm approaching 6K. I don't think I hit it yet. Let's have a look here. No. Oh, yes, I did. Thank you, guys. Thank you. We're past 6,000 threshold. Awesome. Thank you so much. Ryan P. Thank you, my man. Love your channel. Thanks for your constant hot stove updates, realistic predictions, and overall knowledgeable baseball. I appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Hicks turning into another eligible. Yeah, but he tried to hulk up. He tried to become like a beast, and I don't think it's working for him. And he's having a decent winter baseball, but winter baseball, he's not facing guys like Garrett Cole. He's not facing guys like Max Scherzer. So there's a little bit salute too, man. Salute too. In Bronson, salute, man. Thinking of Jordans. All you guys and gals. Salute to all of you. Congrats. Thank you, guys. Any news? Let me check right now. I'm looking at the Twitter feed right now to see, because that's generally where you get a lot of stuff here. According to MLB sources, the agent of free agent Carlos Correa has heard from the Yankees, so they've reached out to Correa's agent today. Hicks to Japan. Yeah, he can go with good. That's where Chris Gittens was released. He asked to be released yesterday so he can pursue. He's going to sign that with a team in Japan. So the Yankees are at 39 right now on their 40-man roster. Any other baseball stuff right here? Yeah, they are in on Freeman too. To what degree, we don't know. I mean, but I know the sticking point between Freeman and the Braves is that 6th year. He wants the 6th. They only want to go 5. So if somebody's willing to give him a 6th, it might work out. And again, then they also have prospects that they wouldn't trade for Matt Olson that they can use for maybe Brian Reynolds. And you get Freeman and Brian Reynolds here, whole different team, whole different lineup, right? And that's huge. That's huge. So, I mean, Freeman and Brian Reynolds would be nuts. Would be absolutely nuts, man. So again, he'd be here for 6 years. I mean, you'd not have to worry about first base. I like Olsen, but if that's the way, if you can't, and I don't think you can get Olsen and Reynolds because you've got the farm, but if you can get Freeman and Reynolds or something like that, you'd still have some of that farm, and you'd be a hell of a lot better. Then you can pivot over to pitching, and then you can maybe do a trade with the Diamondbacks for like Gallen and a Carson Kelly or something like that. You can do. It opens up possibilities. So it's very possible. Very, very possible. Rizzo to the Padres. That will be an interesting one. Let me check to see if anything has happened here on MLB. No, nothing yet. Nothing yet. But I think Padres are going to have to move Eric Hosmer first. And I know they're looking to move Will Myers as well. Myers has a little bit more value to them, I think, than Hosmer at this point. But they're going to have a tough time moving at Hosmer without eating a chunk of his contract. So I think they're going to have to do that. But we'll see what happens there. They have some work to do as well. And they get Mike Clevenger back now also from the Cleveland Indians after Tommy John. So that should be interesting too. Nick Martinez got $4 years, $20 million. Yeah, there's a lot of guys who represented good value, man. Like, there's some guys that are just, making some. The Marlins have been quietly aggressive too, and they've been getting better too. And again, adding some defensive improvement, adding some offensive improvement to that ridiculous stable of young pitchers, they've gotten better. The Mets obviously have gotten better. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, we still have crickets, GM, unfortunately, right now. The team needs speed. They need athleticism. They need versatility. There's still guys out there that represent it. They just haven't done anything. I'm really wondering what they're going to do. Are they going to come right out the gates after this lockout? Or are we going to hear something late at night that was confirmed and finalized today? Or are we going to hear about it tomorrow? Before the deadline hit, the Yankees have acquired or signed or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So breaking news by John Heyman. MLB owners have voted unanimously to institute a lockout. It is expected to begin tomorrow, but unclear what time. So it looks like The lockout is it's done now. It's official. It'll start at midnight, or it says they don't know what time now. So, but it's supposed to start at midnight. But John Heyman just reported it, and they voted unanimously for it. The owners. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what, these guys are so wealthy and it's just on both sides. I don't understand. I just don't understand. I really don't. But, it is what it is. That's what I'm hearing right now. That's what we're seeing right now in the feed. If something else comes in right now, I'll feed you in. But it looks like Heyman's confirmed that now. They voted unanimously for it. So that's where we stand right now. Lockout's happening. But I'm not locking out things on this channel. We're going to still put out stuff. So, and we'll still do the live streams if you guys are up for it. So, and I'll obviously be feeding you through this lockout to see what's going on, and every little piece of information that comes out, you'll get it. That's my word. So, and I'll still be putting out regular videos too. I have a whole bunch of stuff to put out. And I'm also going to try and do a couple collabs with some people too. Freeman 6. Oh, wait a minute. I'd give Freeman 6/195. I think it might take that. I think he wants 6/180, but the Braves have offered him 5/150, I think. So, Freeman 6/195 all day if he signed. And then I offer Correa 9/315. It'll probably get it done. I mean, maybe. I mean, I would love if they adopted like this NBA type thing where 4 to 5 year just monster deals. That way your team's not tied up for a decade in bad contracts and whatnot. And then you can do that again if you're playing well. And it's just, I don't know, to me, it's more financially sound, but that's not going to happen in baseball either because they're going to keep wanting more and more and more and more and more. So Mullins is in a very attractive, and they're going to have to give up. They're going to have to give up Dominguez probably for him, and I don't know if I'm willing to do that. Yankees should trade for Hosmer. Padres, if we can get that catching prospect to Butters with Hosmer, then I would be amenable to that. If the Padres ate a lot of hot, they owe him 3 years. I think $60 million left. So, I'd be willing to do that if they got the catching prospect in return, because then you could just release Hosmer. And eat the whatever it is. Like if they ate $40 million of it, you pay $20. I would pay the $20 just to get this catching prospect. Is it Campusano? That way you have somebody you can replace Gary Sanchez with. And he's a highly touted catcher as well. Yep, they just voted, Drew, unanimously to get the lockout going. So it's going to start tomorrow. Marlins, I think, are going to be better than people think. Yep. I think Sanchez will probably hurt us because he's not getting any better. So I agree with that too, John. Mullins and Freeman would be nice. Mullins is going to be a hard get, though. But it doesn't hurt looking into it. Or Brian Reynolds doesn't hurt looking into it, that's for sure. Marte, Carson Kelly, trade. I would definitely look into that, Jacob. Yep. Yeah, thank you guys for feeding us into it. Yeah, it's broken. The MLB owners have voted unanimously, so they're just not on the same page. I know some of the other things are they're so far apart in certain things when these are team control. I don't think they're apart on NLDH though, but other things too much. Hola, Perito. Thank you so much for the Dono Super Chat. The Yankees trade Sanchez after the lockout. Doesn't that give the other team advantage to ask for the moon? How many teams can make Korea? Yeah, well, I agree. I don't know how much. This is maybe one or two. I know that the Yankees are in on him, the Astros, the Tigers, and I think it's either the Phillies or the Red Sox or both. There's only a handful of teams in on him that can actually pay him that much money. I think he's at the end of the day, he's going to go where the money is. So if somebody offers him $335 and somebody else offers him $350, he's going to go to the $350. I think. At the end of the day, you pretty much know the Tigers aren't going to really. If he signs for 10 years with the Tigers, half of those 10 years, they're not going to be in contention. I highly doubt it, but they still have they have young pitchers, but they still have a hell of a long way to go too. So that's not something, if he wants to win, he should be coming to teams that are either in a contention already or close. And I wouldn't sleep on the Dodgers, who can move him to third base or something like that. So I would not sleep on the Dodgers at all. Butters, thank you so much, man. You're the man. I appreciate you for that super chat. I appreciate you, man. Really, really do appreciate it. Yeah, and all you guys, man, you're the best. Let's hope this lockout. Yeah, I mean, I hope it doesn't last long. It'd be detrimental to the sport. I mean, they lost billions in revenue during the COVID year, and I don't see the point why they want to have such a big lockout either. So it's crazy. It's crazy, but this is unfortunately part of the sport. And the MLB Players Union is one of the most powerful unions in the country. Like up there with the Teamsters, like some of the big ass unions, they're one of the most powerful unions in the country. So at the end of the day, they're going to win whatever the negotiations were. So they're going to win. No, they can't do anything, Drew. Can't talk trades, can't negotiate, nothing. No Major League Baseball activity at all, which sucks. Which absolutely sucks. I'd sign Brett Gardner and Anderson Simmons for the Yankees. Samuel, I mean, it's not going to really make him better. It's not going to make him better, man. And it sounds like they might be headed that way, but it's not going to make him better. I don't know how they can justify, calling it a championship team again if that's the type of moves they're going to make. Because they're not going to be a championship team with those types of moves. So sign Rizzo and trade for Didi and finish in third. Yeah, I mean, it could happen, Nick. Yeah. At the end of the day, I don't think they'll make the playoffs with those types of moves, unfortunately. So Phillies and Tigers are out now. They might be, Timothy. I don't think. Well, I could see the Tigers still pouncing on, even though they have Javy Baez, but because they still need more firepower. And you put him with Javy Baez up there, and that'll be. And you have Miguel Cabrera, who's kind of on his way out anyway. But I think that might revitalize Miguel Cabrera for that last year or two. So I wouldn't rule out the Tigers, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're out either. At the end of the day, he's going to get paid. He's probably going to get $350 million. So I think he's trying to beat Lindor's contract, which was, I think, $341 for 10 years. So Chris Bryant and Correa. Michael, I think Bryant's going to wind up in Toronto. Correa, I'm still predicting him to the Phillies. Dave Dombrowski is their GM, and he's bold as hell. And I think he's going to pull a stunner at the end of the day and bring him over to Philadelphia. Which would be nuts. Put him in that lineup with Bryce Harper and JT and the rest of those guys. Yeah. And keep in mind, the Phillies actually non-tendered Rhys Hoskins, one of their former power hitting first baseman. So he's available too. There's a couple of intriguing non-tender guys, but he's one of the more. I was surprised that they non-tendered him. And then Detroit Tigers non-tendered Matthew Boyd. For some reason, I think Cashman's going to wind up taking a flyer on him and say, see, we wanted him all along and whatever, but he needs two legitimate starting pitchers, and he's not one of them, really. So what would it cost to move Hicks, Dustin? I think the Yankees would have to eat probably a third of his contract. He's got 4 years and $40 million left, 10 per. They probably have to eat a third, I would say. Would I be surprised if the Yankees got just a little bit? A little bit. I mean, they tend to make big moves late, so I'm still kind of holding out, kind of being patient on that one because that's kind of their modus operandi anyway. That's what they generally do. But I think they've hamstringed themselves by not bringing in any role players because then they're going to be scrambling later on, and that's just going to make it harder for them to do business because teams are going to take advantage of them. They're going to know this, and they're just going to wind up having to massively overpay for guys when they kind of gotten other guys at a more reasonable price. So I think they're financially hamstringing themselves a little bit. I do. It's unfortunate. But, I mean, that's how they do things. Correa, 7 years, 300. It could happen. Could happen. Trade for Olsen and package a deal around Dominguez for Bryant. If they were to somehow sign Correa and trade for Olsen and Brian Reynolds, that team would be World Series favorites immediately. Immediately. They got those three pieces immediately. I would still bring in a starting pitcher regardless, but they would fall right to the top. Right to the top. Correa back to Houston with an opt-out after a year. Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. I mean, the Yankees can do that too. Give him a 3-year deal at like $45 million a year and give him an opt-out after 2 years. He can go back on the free agent market when he's 29. And they can enjoy 2 years of him at a ridiculously high salary. So, and let him move. Talking about doing a video. I'll follow up the comments tomorrow. Yeah, Hillel. We'll get together. We'll do something. I was sad when the Yankees got. Who's that, Aaron? Boom. Rich Rodriguez, another intriguing reliever that he was not tended by the Braves. He's another one I would take a flyer on. He's a good right-handed reliever. I was surprised that the Braves non-tendered him. They traded for him from the Pirates. But I mean, he helped them win a World Series. So Jack Berry, I think, yeah, I mean, probably one or two more moves will get announced tonight. And with the guys that have already passed their physical and it was like already in the works, I think. But at this point, if people haven't taken their physicals, I mean, there's an hour left or a little bit more than an hour. I don't see anybody being signed at this point if they haven't taken a physical already. Peterson to the Yanks. Yeah, he's another intriguing guy. Thank you, GM Turk. I can't believe I'm at 6,000 subs. I really can't. I'm really, really appreciative of all you. Thank you. I mean, you're the best. I mean, you guys are what makes this channel hum, man. We're up at 6,010 now. It just keeps going up. So next up is 7K. Like I said, I'm trying to get to 10K before my birthday in June. So that's one of my goals. So I'm hoping to get there. So we'll see. Just got to keep rocking and rolling with you guys and keep putting out good stuff. But again, I appreciate you. And Correa, yeah, I mean, Correa is definitely, he's the sexy option. That's for sure. If he falls into their laps, they'd be kind of nuts not to do it. Jorge Soler could be another one, Samuel. Intriguing outfield option. And, he's another one. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to choose like an outfielder from the Braves, it would be Eddie Rosario, only because he's lefty. He's versatile with speed. And he does some of the things that the Yankees don't do now. And Soler is kind of a mirror image of Stanton and Judge. So not that it's a bad thing. We just need more speed and athleticism and versatility. Yankees need to say fuck it and trade for Castillo and Iceman. No doubt about it. Both of them, love it. Hell yeah. Anyone after Barrett? No, I mean, he's still with the Dodgers. So he exercised his player option for like almost $40 million. So thank you, Hirsch. So he's with the Dodgers right now. And I mean, I don't know if they're gonna stay with him because he's nuts and because of his issues too. But then they now have lost Scherzer, so and they're out Seager too. So even though they brought back Chris Taylor tonight, I could see them trading for Luis Castillo or something like that, or going after somebody else. But so I still, John Butts, I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Sincere Godfather, no doubt, man. Whole crew, man, the best crew. So I could see them still making a couple of stealth moves like they always do. And I didn't think they were going to get Trey Turner when they brought Max Scherzer. I was shocked. I said, shit, what? How the hell did you get Trey Turner? So it could happen. It could happen. But, keep in mind, Carlos Rodon now is not a top guy in the free agent market. He's going to get paid now. So he's the top guy left. Somebody's going to overpay, probably give him $100 million, close to it. So I wouldn't be surprised. And Butters, yeah, Story is, well, he's perfect. I think he's a perfect player for this current Yankees team. He's most athletic of all the shortstops, defensively fantastic. Even though he's from the righty side, his metrics and he has his more balanced offensive profile than all those other guys. And again, he's going to cost half the amount of money Correa would cost. I help you if I'll drop a sub. Manuel, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for subbing, man. Your support's greatly appreciated, man. How much money do I think Barry Bonds would get if he played today? With the stats that he was putting up, he'd probably be the first $50 million player. Probably, or close to it. With the production he was putting up, oh my God. Yeah. Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. Tommy, that's what it's just for, man. So a place to come by and vent. We trade ideas. We talk about what's going on. We keep each other in the loop. We support each other. So that's what this channel's for. That's what some of those other great channels too, like Derek's channel and NYY Recaps. So go check them out if you haven't yet. It's one of the best baseball channels out there. And there's a whole bunch of other ones as well. I mean, you got Simnetti Source, you got Unhinged Yankees. There's a lot of channels out here who are just big time Yankee channels, and we love the Yankees. So there's a lot of us, and there's different perspectives, and it's nice to be able to share these things. So Vincent Monarca, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for that support, man. Do I think Cashman will give Oswald Peraza? Vincent, well, first of all, thank you so much for that donut super chat. I appreciate that, man. I think if he's not included in the Matt Olson trade, then I think he does get a shot. even if they bring in Freddie Freeman, I still think he gets a shot because then you could use Gleyber Torres in a trade for somebody and move DJ to second, Peraza at third, and you have Gio at third, and you have a much better defensive infield with somebody like Freeman at first. That'd be glove work everywhere. And Peraza has an elite glove, so that would be a defensively gifted infield. And then they can put guys together in a package for like a Brian Reynolds or somebody else, or Ketel Marte and a Zach Gallen and a Stallings. You could plug in Torres and a bunch of other prospects in the trades like that. So there are a lot of there's a lot of possibilities there. Some of these stories was good, yet too MAGA crazy. Oh no, were they too political yesterday, Mr. Coconuts? Yeah, Robert Kelly, I appreciate that, man. There are a lot of channels. There are a lot of channels. Yeah, I try to keep that type of craziness off of here, Mr. Coconuts. So I totally get what you're saying. Totally get what you're saying. Yankees still talking A's. Yeah, I just think anything that happens is going to happen after a lockout. Obviously, unless they announce at 11:55 they've struck in a deal with Oakland to get Matt Olson and whoever else for a boatload of guys. Right, Mountcastle is another one option for first base. I've heard about him as well. So, possible. I mean, I think Olson at the end of the day is the first choice, and then probably Freeman is the second choice. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this is still fluid. I know they're in contact with both, but Cashman's in contact with everybody all the time. So that's the thing. Like, we don't really know until he actually strikes. And when he strikes, he generally strikes in bunches too. So there'll be quite a few moves in Planet Cashman. I just don't know when the hell it's going to happen. And frustratingly slow, that's for sure. Call Marlins and ask Jeter how much it would cost for 1 year contract. Yeah. Taking back for shortstop any day. Vincent, again, thank you. I really appreciate it. It's very generous, Don. I appreciate that, man. Art Dorellis, thank you too, man. Thanks so much, for your donor, man. I appreciate you too. Joey Gallo back to first base. Get another corner outfielder. He was good. You know what's crazy? I'm glad Art brought up. You bring up a good point because I actually went through a list of guys who I would if you can't get if they move Voit, right, and if they can't get Freeman, they can't get Olson. What happens then? Is it DJ at first? And I mentioned Gallo as a possibility too because he has a good glove, and then you can bring in somebody different for the outfield. So I've never eliminated him as a possible. He's probably on the bottom of everybody's list, but I'm glad you brought that up because it's I think it's important to not rule him out. And, we would miss his cannon arm. He's got the best outfield arm on the whole team, better than Judge. He's got a cannon in the outfield, but I would sacrifice that. And if you can keep his bat in the lineup and then move him to first base, if they can't get these other guys, I think at the end of the day, Rizzo's the guy. I mean, Olson's the guy, and then Rizzo. I think Rizzo at the end of the day is going to go to Boston, but I think Boston will pay him more than the Yankees would. But so you make a good point, Arthur. Good point with the Joey Gallo first base. He should not be completely discounted. And he's going to be here anyway, and I think he's going to have a better season than he did. He's not going to be thrown to the wolves having to adjust because Texas is nowhere near New York. So it was really hard to adjust for anybody coming to New York at the trading deadline and expecting to kind of be a difference maker when we're missing so many other difference makers. So Rizzo was good, but he wasn't awesome. He was good. But at the same time, we still needed more than Rizzo and Gallo anyway. So that's why I'm hoping that they make some savvy moves this offseason. Again, we're just unfortunately, going to have to wait. I hope something gets announced tonight of some degree, but we'll see. We'll see. Bonds had 10. Bonds was a beast. I mean, all-time lefty bat. He was the modern day Babe Ruth. It was ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. He was a total dick in real life, but again, I was mesmerized by him. I was at that game actually when they came to Yankee Stadium, and he hit a upper deck, almost out of the upper deck in Yankee Stadium off Ted Lilly, the only time that they ever played there. And it was almost out of the whole entire stadium. If you look at Barry Bonds' home run Yankee Stadium, just YouTube it, you'll see how far he hit this freaking ball. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life, really. Where do I think Story? At the end of the day, I think Story's going to come to the Bronx. I really do. I really, really do. And again, I would be fine with Story and Freeman. And then you could essentially, honestly, you could trade Torres and part of a trade for pitching, and then put DJ there. If you trade G or whatnot, you have flexibility. You can move Story to third and then bring Oswald Peraza up for short. Like, you just have versatility. You have options. So, Colorado Rockies, what's up, man? What's up? I was a former competitive runner. Simonetti is real talk. We're real talk here too, man. We're real talk here. There's no hate from here. No hate everywhere. No hate anywhere, man. Not here. I used to be a competitive runner, and I used to go to the Colorado in the summer times for altitude running. So for like 8 or 10 weeks, and tough, man. Tough training, like Denver and Boulder and places like that, but unforgettable memories. It was such a beautiful place, and everybody was so cool. But yeah, Frankie, Colorado, man, welcome. Yankees are wasting Judge, Stanton, Cole time. This is exactly, Ola, exactly. That's why they need to be aggressive now to take advantage of the prime years of the superstars that they do have, right? And, this is where I really hope that they pull some rabbits out of their hat after this lockout. I really do. And not miss not miss golden opportunities, because the free agent class is not going to be this deep for a while. So, and Scott, I do, man. I watch NYY recaps with Derek Lewandowski. I watch Simonetti Source. I'll watch Unhinged Yankees, and there's a couple new ones. Bronx Talk. These two young guys. Hillel has a channel too. So you got some young content creators who are Yankee fans. So give them a check out, and at least give them a subscription. Trying to help them grow too. But there's a lot of good Yankee channels out here, and the Yankee fan community, and I think the Dodger community have the most large populace on YouTube. So there's a lot of good Yankee stuff out here. But I'm personally, I try to be unique, and I think the other guys do as well too. So there's a lot of good stuff out here, man. But yeah, I like to make sure that everybody is enjoying themselves on my channel. So try to keep it real. Yeah, I mean, in terms of offensive prospects, what would you give up in a trade for Trevor Rogers from the Marlins? It's a good question, Anthony. How many years does he have left? Let's see here. I mean, years of, controllable years is important. I mean, he is young. He's 24. I mean, you have to give up probably Luis Medina and a couple of good position prospects at the very least. So, but he'd be a young, controllable starting pitcher here would be very, very welcome. I think we need two of them. I really do. So I would give up, a good handful of prospects. Yeah, Correa, I think, is going to wait until in Story too. I think they'll both be signed after the lockout. GM, thank you, man. Good night, bro. Again, thank you as always. Canseco's ready for a steroid book. Yeah, man. Yeah, well, Bonds has no rings. This is true. This is very true. That home run it was absolutely epic. It was one of the most amazing home runs I've ever seen. The one home run where Mark McGwire hit off Randy Johnson, that was a monster home run. Cecil Fielder hit a home run out of Tiger Stadium, out of the whole place. Was another monster home run. So there's a lot of ridiculous home runs that have been out there. If A-Rod was playing now with his stats, he'd be over 40 million per year. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Yep. Mm-hmm. Simmons Timo. Who's Simmons Timo? Samuel Sande. Breaking news. I don't know if that's breaking news. Let me see here. I haven't seen that anywhere. You must be pulling our legs, man. Yeah, the Yankees haven't signed anybody. Yeah, if you don't mind, put up hit that like button. I want to try to we got 300 plus people here. It's the most I've ever had, only 142 likes. I'd like to try to get up to like 200 likes, man. So if you haven't pressed it yet, please do if you're enjoying yourself, man. Thank you, man. And ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you. Leave a like on the video. Yeah, would be greatly helpful and appreciated. Philly's got Camargo. Yeah. Phillies, I mean, quiet too. They brought in Corey Knebel earlier tonight. Got another reliever. I think they're still going to get uh, Kenley Jansen from the Dodgers. I think they're going to wind up with him as well. So, yeah, they're interested in Andrelton Simmons. They haven't signed him, Anthony. They haven't made any signings yet. So, if he's the first signing they make, I'd be pretty embarrassed. Do I think the inability to make a big trade for some roster spots hamstrings them to make? Nah, because I think any trade they make, Joe Malia, at this point is going to be wind up being a 4-for-2 or 5-for-2 or something like that. So they're going to give up more roster spots than they're bringing back, just because of the guys that they want. Like Olsen's going to cost multiple guys. Like if it's Olsen and Sean Manaea, it's going to cost multiple guys. So if it's Brian Reynolds, it's going to cost a ton of guys. So at the end of the day, they're going to give up more in spots than they're getting back. So which leaves them room to make up moves. So I don't know. Hold on. I mean, it's a good question. I thought Chris Taylor would have represented the great value here. He got $460, 4 years and $60 million back with the Dodgers. So I think it was great value. And I'm not exactly sure. He was one of the guys that I think would be a great value. I think Eduardo Rodriguez would have been a good fit in the rotation. And but didn't happen, unfortunately. So I'm not exactly sure what their logic is right now. Torres to Philly for Real Muto. I mean, personally, I would do it, but I don't know if they would do it. Anthony, thank you, man. I appreciate you. Aroldis Chapman, yeah, I think they'd have to attach a prospect, but I think he's movable, especially with Johnny Lasagna and these other guys they have in the bullpen. I think he's movable. He's got one more year left, and I think any team that really feels that one piece away in the bullpen, he'd be a good spot. He'd be a good guy to move. So I'm hoping that there's a DH in the NL too, Charlie. I think it'll be a good thing. So, yeah, that's part of the reason why the Yankees are holding out. I think you're right there, Lee Van. For like Volpe and Peraza and stuff like that. But again, some of the guys that they could bring in, like Story, he wouldn't block either one of them, like a Correa might do. So that's why certain guys would be good value. But they still need outfield depth, and they need backup infielder too. So Kimbrel's a spot, yeah, is an option for Philly too. Castellanos, Schwarber, Rizzo, yeah, especially now that they don't have a first baseman after not tendering Rhys Hoskins early today. Rizzo. Yeah, they're going to make a few moves, the Phillies. Camargo, yeah, I mean, yeah. It won't be $500 million, but it's a better value than $320. Yeah, it's $325 for Seager, I think, is a massive overpay, but if he stays healthy, then okay. If he's productive, I don't see anything. So, yeah, I think the Yankees have made a couple of mistakes already. I really do. And Jack, I hear a lot of people calling for them to bring back Tanaka too. This is all how I have a feeling he's hamstringing Cashman a little bit, and I just that's not really the way to win fans over or get more fans and to sell tickets, and that's not really the way to do it and to make your team better. I mean, just don't see it. I just don't see it, man. Chapman has a partial no trade clause now, Richard. It's not a full, so he can go to certain teams and he won't be able to block it. Acuna, yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. But yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's Hal, but Cashman, I mean, I think he's partly responsible too because he's made some dud deals too. But this is Hal, man. This really is all Hal. People are calling for Hal to sell the team too. Yeah, and Jared, I hear those calls, man. Yeah, people want him to sell him to Elon Musk and some of these other players, man. Hillel, enjoy your night, buddy. We'll keep in touch, man. I mean, dude, thanks for coming on and supporting, man. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna do something with you too because I want to support your channel too, buddy. So enjoy your night. We'll talk tomorrow, bud. Cash, yeah, they are prospect hugging. I mean, I can understand why you prospect hug like Volpe and Dominguez. I get that. Like at the end of the day, Soto's not coming here anytime. Let's be realistic. Like if you can get Bryan Reynolds somehow, it's probably going to cost Jason Dominguez. But to me, he's the finished product of what they want Jason Dominguez to be, and I've said that before. So he's one of the two guys I would move Dominguez for, with Reynolds or Soto. I wouldn't move him for anybody else, but it's still going to cost more than Dominguez. So, but that would suck. But I wouldn't. That's unfortunately it's baseball, and he's no guarantee to pan out either. Sell the Yankees to Trump. Adonis Medina, Phillies 14 prospect, was just DFA'd. Another one. I mean, there's guys out there that could be, valuable pieces for the Yankees. I don't understand what they're doing. And not even small moves, which is puzzling to a lot of us. And Cohen and house swap teams. Yeah, I mean, if we had Cohen, he would have brought Scherzer here. He would have got a bunch of guys here already. But I agree with you, Hirsch. Volpe's the only untouchable at this point. Dominguez is mostly untouchable. So Cedric Mullins, 30-30. I mean, I hear people. It's just, I don't know. He wasn't overwhelming to me. He had some light tower power, and he's got obviously a very tantalizing bat, Dominguez. But I see a Volpe panning out better. So, but I hope I'm wrong. LaCastro was non-tendered today by Boston. So, no, I get a lot of people, want to keep DeMarsh. And if they can, then great. If they can't keep him in Volpe, fantastic. So I just hope they both pan out. Cohen Cohen's on fire, and he means business. I mean, you got to give him that. He means business, man. So, Heyman owner, they voted to lock out a little bit ago. Yep. Volpe's just accelerating up the system quicker, Mike G, than Dominguez is. And his profile just seems to be a little bit better right now than Dominguez. He's also 2 years. I mean, Dominguez is 18. He's still very raw. So that's one reason why Volpe he's going to be he'll be major league ready before Dominguez will be. So that's one reason why. But they're both top 20 prospects. And we haven't had 2 top 20s in quite some time. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited. We have 3 top 100s. Oswald Peraza's in the 40s or like the low 50s. So 3 of them that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. I mean, Coleman's dead serious. He's dead serious, that's for sure. So A-Rod buys. I know he tried to buy the Timberwolves, but I don't know if that happened or not. But Kevin Kiermaier, he would be nice. I mean, I would take him over Hicks, but he's got a little bit of an injury history too. But take him away from Tampa Bay. He was a Yankee killer too, so I would take him away from the Rays if we could. I just don't know if the Rays would do it. But it's intriguing, that's for sure. It's intriguing, but even so, it's at the end of the day, if I'm going to go for anybody for center field, it's going to be a trade for Brian Reynolds. He can lead off and play center field and just be such a nice part on this team, in this lineup. It'd be ridiculous. Best free agents left: Tyler Talbot, Correa, Freeman, Story, Castellanos, Bryant, Rizzo, Suzuki. Oh yeah, say Suzuki. That's right. Rodon, Kershaw, Cruz. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right, Tyler. Yeah, the Red Sox. Hill and Paxton depth pieces. This is what I mean. Like little pieces like that would have been nice for Yankees to do, just to get some depth. I mean, they could have brought in Rich Hill or somebody like that. I mean, they always have issues in the starting rotation with depth every single year. Like even if they have 11 guys, like 5 of them go down. And there's always at some point where they have to call up guys because they don't have enough guys to fill out a 5-man, which is bizarre, but it always happens. So this is why I mean depth pitching. Get a lot of these guys. And I just wish they would do that. I really do. They had an IQ test when I was a child in New York. If you picked the Mets as your favorite team, you failed the IQ. I could see that, Ralph. I could see that. Stanton's contract for Hosmer. Both players will bloom in the new environments. I don't know, Dink. Stanton's already blooming here, so he's money in the playoffs. So I don't know if I would do that, man. I don't know if Stanton would accept that. I mean, but if the goal is to free up money, then Hanky, then obviously the Yankees would be freeing up money. But I don't know if I'd be moving Stanton for Hosmer. You need more than that to get Stanton. I would want that catching prospect. I would want a couple of guys. Why do I think no moves after lying to us about getting a shortstop priority? It's a good question. I think, and this is what they never show their cards. the Yankees. And you never know what the hell's going on until actually something happens. So I think it's part of the problem. And Story and Correa, I still see them getting one of them. So until both of those guys go elsewhere, I'm going to hold off reservation, at least calling them liars. But they did say they wanted to address shortstop, and I don't see them addressing it any other way without bringing either one of these guys in. Peraza is not addressing shortstop. So he's a prospect. He needs time to develop. So it would have to be one of these guys for me to consider Cashman to be credible. So it has to be Correa, Story. At the end of the day, I think it's Story, but the other moves, I don't know. I mean, they could have made moves here, and they can, like I said, they could have brought in some role player guys, which would ease the stress on the back end of having to do a whole bunch of stuff after the lockout. What if the lockout lasts for months and they have this little bit of time to scramble and get guys? And other teams just jump on it and get all these guys, and the Yankees have the bottom of the barrel to pick from. This is a risk they're taking, and it was unnecessary in my opinion. So I totally get what you're saying, Udall. 7-2-10, I would not go for Freddie. I would go 6-180 for Freddie, Mike Jones. He's going to get 6 at the end of the day. Long relief for Hill. Yeah, you do. Sure, man. We have guys in here that can be long relief guys, and I would still bring in Andrew Chafin as well, a reliable lefty reliever. Listen to myself, judging a 17-year-old for strike. He's 18, okay? Grown man in the farm country in his first 100 bats ever. Chill. Well, first of all, Dustin, it's my channel. I can say whatever I want, okay? And I also said I hope he pans out if he does. So he might have to chill too. And at the end of the day, he is nowhere near being major league ready, and he's blocked right now anyway. So, and again, if he pans out, he pans out. But it's still too far along. But again, I would trade him for Brian Reynolds any day of the week, and so would a lot of other people. So, but that said, he's been a very, very touted, highly touted prospect. So if he stays, I hope he pans out. But if he doesn't, then they're lost, unfortunately. Can you still make sure? You can't do anything, Luke Petro, during the lockout. Absolutely nothing. No major league activity at all. And the only thing that can happen during the lockout is the Rule 5 draft. That's it. Agree, Butters. Clutch players are priceless. Yes, they are. Freeman would be, I think, a great Yankee too. He's got a championship type guy, so we need that, type of guy. And again, you would only have to give him money. So at the end of the day, I wouldn't hesitate to trade Chapman to get Lasagna to the club. I mean, you can get, a nice prospect in return. I wouldn't hesitate. Shortstop. Yeah, I mean, it is a little weird in Brunson. It's a little weird. It is. But it's not over yet. So the Yankees are frustratingly slow-moving and patient with this type of stuff. So I'm gonna reserve judgment until the offseason is completely or mostly over. And it's not. We're only a week in. So there's still like 250 guys that haven't signed yet. So there's plenty of guys to help them get better. I just hope it's the right guys. So, and again, they have multiple holes to fill. So they're gonna have to do some depth and some quality. Stan will hit 45. I would not be surprised at all. But yeah, unfortunately, they can't do anything during this lockout. So, and yeah, I mean, a lot of the pitching's gone. They're gonna need to trade for pitching, unless they bring in Rodon. But Rodon won't be enough either. Rodon has a high ceiling, but he has an injury history too. Ramirez is great. He would be a great fit here. Hi, you don't, man. It's my pleasure, bro. It's my pleasure, man. My pleasure, sir. Absolutely, man. Peraza is more major league ready than Volpe is. Volpe, I think, still needs. He only had a handful of games in Double-A, so I think he'll start in Double-A. And if he goes up to Triple-A quickly, he seems like the type of guy that's going to force his way on the team because he's going to keep progressing. And those are the types of guys that we need. And I hope Dominguez does the same thing. But we'll see. We'll see. Tell him Godfather put a hit on. Butts you too much. Give him a chance. I think Aaron Gray's Praza. Yeah, I mean, well, Praza just I think, more development in the majors. I think he just needs an adjustment period, Pete. But I think he's as major league ready as any prospect that the Yankees have. I think it's him, and then like between Volpe and Oswaldo Cabrera. If all three of them made it up to the team and stayed here and became good pieces, I'd be happy. Totally happy. Jose Ramirez, yeah. I like it. I like it. Simmons, I'm not opposed to Simmons, Corey, but his glove is ridiculous. He's not a hitter, but they would need to bring in a Freeman or a Matt Olson. They need to upgrade in several offensive positions in order for me to be, or a lot of people to be okay with Andrelton Simmons. And that's not addressing shortstop either. Cashman did say, and they said they were going to address shortstop, and that would not represent addressing shortstop, unfortunately. So, but we'll see. I mean, what about if they brought him in for be like a utility backup infielder? Could be like the Odor this year. He could. Hell of a lot better glove than Odor, I'll tell you that. Hicks for Hosmer, Reese Neer, and a catching prospect. Neer could be a good long man for New York. San Diego gets a solid center right fielder. I'm moving Will Myers to first base. That's intriguing, Arthur. That's intriguing. That is intriguing. What would I do with Miguel? I would package him in a trade. It's probably one of those trades to Miami to try to get one of their pitchers, with some other guys as well. Brian Reynolds will cost more than Jason Dominguez. Yes. It'll cost Dominguez and a couple other people, but he's one of the 2 guys or 3 guys that would be worth it. He represents exactly what the Yankees need. But yes, you're right. He will cost more than Dominguez. And again, prospects are prospects until they prove themselves to be. You got to keep progressing at each level. So if he stays and he does, fantastic. But if the Yankees want to win now, then these are the types of moves that they have to make, unfortunately. DJ at first, sign Correa and make a trade for Reynolds. If you get Correa and Reynolds here, Anthony, that's a hell of an addition to this team and this lineup. So, a lot of the big ones are gone, Sal. But keep in mind, a lot of them are massive overpays too, and a lot of them are not worth the money that they've got that they're getting. So, a lot of them, I don't know, a lot of them are going to stay healthy too. Well, the Mets own the offseason, definitely, Sal. So I won't call them Yankee team. The Yankee or the New York team yet until they win a title. So they got to win a championship in order to call them the New York team. That's my opinion. Archie Bradley, he's a free agent too. Yeah, the Mets. The Phillies moved on from him. Dude. Jared, I'm with you there with the stupid lockout. I just don't understand. These guys are so stinking rich, and they're crying poverty. And while other people have a hard time, making ends meet and just feeding families, and these guys are like, you need more than $30 million a year. It's like, come on, man. It's going to cost $1,000 to take your kids to a baseball game. That's to me is absurd, which I don't understand why they would be striking so much. I really don't, but it's not my money and whatever else. So Cashman sticking badly to get players. Yeah, Clint. Hicks is doing decent in the winter league. He's hit a double, he's hit a home run, so he's looked okay. But again, I think he's showing that he's healthy, which is a good thing. So, which I don't know if that means he's a movable piece in a trade or the Yankees are actually going to go with him. I'm not confident, but I'm not confident in him staying healthy. Technically, if you were in a front office and you had a son in the MLB on another team, you would not be able to talk to him you wouldn't be able to talk to him about baseball stuff, Jeffrey. Yeah. Any baseball, because that's considered tampering, but obviously he can come over to your house for holidays and blah, blah, blah. They can't prevent you from having a relationship with your son. But yeah, you can't talk baseball, obviously. So any updates here? Cubs signing outfielder Michael Marcino. Minor move by the Cubs. Nothing else of significance aside from the Cubs signing Stroman earlier. Let's check out MLB. No, nothing else. Nothing else. We'll see if anything else pops up. No, I get the no Correa sentiment. I mean, personally, I think Story is the better fit. And again, he frees up, more money for them to invest elsewhere. They have too many holes. Correa just, only fills the shortstop hole. So I get you, Pete, totally. Evil Empire, come back, George. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. That's the thing. Hold on, man. So, it costs so much money to go to a game, and then you wind up paying boatloads of money for food and the chicken bucket or hot dogs, whatever the heck it is. And now they're going to they strike for more money. Come on, man. It's crazy. It's totally nuts. But again, this is what these people do, man. It's just it ruins it to a degree for the fans. It really does. Sign John Cena. I'd sign John Cena, put him at catcher, just let him be like the battering ram behind home plate. Yeah. Padres apparently have interest in Well, they tried to get him at the deadline in this past year, and the Yankees beat them out. So I can see them being interested in it again as well, Vinny. Well, they've reached out. Apparently, I don't know if they put out an offer to Freeman Sergio, but it sounds as if they have. So I just don't. It's going to have to be at least 6 years because that's the holdup that he's having with the Braves right now. He wants 6, they want 5. So that's the holdup, and I don't know. I'm really not sure if that's going to happen or not. But if they can't get Matt Olson, if it's too steep, then I can see them doing that. And again, they can use those prospects elsewhere. So for Brian Reynolds or somebody like that, or Ketel Marte and a Zach Gallen or package trade. I mean, they can still trade with the A's without going after Olson too. So get some of those pitchers as well. So they could do that. Averaging, yeah. I mean, the Yankees tickets are very expensive, man. Believe me, we had season tickets a long time ago. My mom's job, and then when the new stadium opened in 2009, they increased the prices for the tickets by 1,000%. They went up to like $115,000 a year for you to keep your same seats, and there was no guarantee. You had to go into a pool for the right to go back. So you'd have to pay like almost like a PSL, like the football stadiums have personal seat license, just for the right to keep those seats, and then that did not include the seats themselves. So it was just absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. So it's nuts. Luke Sachs, Taxman, what's happening, man? Rumor on Freeman to the Bronx. Yeah, I mean, it's speculation and rumors right now. So if something happens, I'd be pleasantly surprised. But that also obviously means that no Olsen trade. So, but I'd be happy with. I'd be happy with either one. My preference is Olsen because he's 5 years younger, and at the very least they'll get 2 controllable years. But they're gonna have to lock him up at some point too. At a big deal. So that's the other thing. Gwynn, oh God, yeah. Gwynn, no strike in 94, yeah. I mean, the Yankees, it looked like it was a collision course between the Yankees and the Expos in that World Series that year. And unfortunately, they went on strike. That sucked. That really sucked. It really did. Dominguez, Medina, Peraza, Gomez for Reynolds. Dominguez, Luis Medina, Oswald Peraza, Andres Gomez for Reynolds. That's probably what it's going to cost, Tyler Talbot. I'd say it's going to cost about that much. So that's probably representative of what a trade would look like for Bryan Reynolds. And they still have enough guys. I mean, that pipeline, they're projected to sign Roderick Arias this offseason, number 1 international free agent. He's also a shortstop prospect. So he's a guy that if they move Peraza somehow, you get another one coming in internationally. So, and you still have Oswaldo Cabrera too, and you have Volpe. So you have other guys. So, yeah, that's what I mean. Look how expensive the food is. What the hell are they, parking is like $50, and it's crazy. What are my thoughts on this ball tampering scandal that was recently? Well, apparently they used 2 different balls this year and didn't tell anybody. So, that's not cool. I mean, I think that's a bigger thing than spider tack, to be honest with you. And it's nuts. It's nuts. Oh, look at this. Trey Ambergy, former highly touted prospect with the Yankees, just signed with the Reds, Cincinnati Reds. He was one of the guys that the Yankees wanted back up here, and they got hurt. I didn't realize he was gone. Trey Ambergy is now a Cincinnati Red, signed into a major league deal with invites to spring training. So another highly touted outfield prospect from the Yankees is with the Cincinnati Reds now. And not huge news, but that just broke. So somebody just provided me with that. And appreciate that. Jeff Bogdan, I want to give you a shout out. And crazy. But that's what my thoughts are, Seymour. I think that's more stealth than the Spider Tack. The Spider Tack thing to me is almost equivalent to like pine tar that helps batters. Spider Tack helps pitchers get a little bit of grip on the ball. So I don't really, I don't see how one's a scandal and the other one's not. So which is crazy. And I mean, that's not a scandal. To me, PEDs is a scandal. Steroids is a scandal. So that's a little bit different. Personally, I don't think that's that much of a thing. So Frankie Montas from the A's. Yeah, I would love Frankie Montas too. I would love Sean Murphy, but I don't think they're going to move him. Stud catcher. Absolute stud catcher. Old Stadium, dude, yeah. The old stadium was the old stadium was louder. I mean, I was there for some epic games in the old stadium, and that place was nuts. I mean, I like the new stadium, but I love the old stadium. It was absolutely legendary. I've never seen anything like it. The old stadium. Let me actually see. I was at the last game with my mom. The absolute last game. And let me see. Oh, Hunter Renfroe from the Boston Red Sox just traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. Interesting. Hunter Renfroe from the Red Sox, a former Tampa Bay Ray. It looks like he was just traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. Looking for confirmation on that one too. Yeah, that's actually it's a pretty significant move. Got a couple things popping out here. Mark Melancon with the Diamondbacks for a 2-year deal. I mentioned that earlier. Marcell Ozuna just got a 20-game suspension. Contracts are being announced, but it looks like, Hunter Renfroe. I didn't expect that one. I mean, the Brewers are trying to bring in some guys here, so maybe a couple other things that'll pop up here before the deadline. And, ESPN confirmed Hunter Renfroe. Jeff Passan has reported it. And, he's not in the Red Sox anymore. And he was a little bit of a Yankee killer too. So he's in the Milwaukee Brewers now, so that's good. But again, like I said about the Blue Jays, the Red Sox getting a little bit weaker does not make the Yankees stronger. The Yankees have to make moves to get stronger. So I can't rely on other teams not doing things. The Red Sox might bring back Schwarber. Yeah, I think they're still going to be aggressive on Rizzo too. Seattle signed Robbie Ray, Ariel. And I know they're interested in Chris Bryant. They were interested in Chris Taylor too. They're also interested in Trevor Story. I know they were discussing with Story and Bryant earlier today. But nothing has broken since they brought in Robbie Ray the other day. So Mike Ford, I don't think he'll be back. Yanks will sign a couple of that's my fear. A couple of role players in the back of the rotation guy. That's definitely not going to be enough. Jackie Bradley Jr. I think he might be headed back to Boston in that trade too. I'm waiting on the details to that too. Gardy, DJ Ford, Judge, Gallo, Stanton, Gary. Yeah, not enough, Butters. Not enough. And Ford had a couple of moments here. A couple good moments, so. Anybody know what Jets stand for? My favorite team in football. Who they're only about 20 guys away from being good, so but I don't know. If the Yankees want to make a move during the lock, they can't make a move during the lockout. Big Chapel, they can't. Nobody can make any moves during the lockout. You trade for minor league catcher Logan O'Hoppe from the Philly system. Yeah, unfortunately, you can't make any major league moves. There is zero activity that happens during the lockout, unfortunately. What app or site do I watch? What do you mean, hit MN? App or site do I watch? What games? Or what? I mean, I watch MLB Network, obviously, where I watch the games, and I have Apple TV where I get the Yankees games exclusively on all the channels. So I mean, every game. So, Jackie Bradley, yeah, back to the Red Sox for Renfro. Is this the last type of stuff popping up here before the deadline? So, and I think some things will be reported afterward too. Things that are just finalized. So, just like at the trade deadline, they report stuff, for the next hour. So, Bryant is realistic to Seattle. Yes, I think so. He's going to get probably 180 million too, something like that. Nightmare would be Correa to Boston. That they're a sleeper to me. They're a sleeper to me. It would be ridiculous. That's my fear too, Boston. And my fear is Matt Olson being traded to Tampa. That would suck too for the Yankees. So Gardy, 5 years, 100 million. That would be nuts. Updates on trades. Oh, for updates on trades, I mean MLBTradeRumors.com, Twitter, a lot of other things. I update stuff all the time. So anything that pops, and once it's popped, like released by John Heyman or Ken Rosenthal or Jeff Passan, I look for a corroborating source to confirm at least 2 stories before I pop anything out. I don't want to lay things out prematurely because some people can do it early and then get it wrong, and I don't like doing that. So yeah, Bernard, no doubt about it, man. I would. I mean, I really would. Yeah, they do suck, Nick. I mean, it would really suck for the Yankees. Philly, Correa to Philly. Yeah, I would. I mean, I did my MLB free agent predictions video, and I had him going to Philly. So I'm still of the opinion he can land there. Mike Ford, I remember that walk off home run. Mike Ford. He had a couple of big home runs here. Really, so did Mike Tauchman and a couple of the other guys. So, Bogarts, if Correa signed with Boston, they move Bogarts to second, I think. If I miss you, thank you again. Udo, thank you, man. As always, bro. As always, thank you, sir. And I appreciate you, Udo. It's always a pleasure. But I'll be here on Saturday night. We still have some stuff. I mean, to go, and I'm still putting out videos, and we'll do the live stream so we can stay engaged throughout this potential lockout. So, let's go, Brandon. Who's Brandon? Created Dodgers would be interesting. Created Dodgers would be interesting. They'd have to move Lux because they'd have Trey Turner there, or I'd have to move Justin Turner. So, White Sox, yeah. FJB, no idea who FJB is. Hunter Renfroe went to the Brewers. If he sends Xander to second, where does Kale Keegan? He'll go back somewhere else. He'll move. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what the Let's Go Brandon is. Udo, I appreciate you, bro. You man, you make this place number one, so I thank you. Maybe batting practice, keep it up, boss. Great stuff. No doubt, Ariel. I got you, man. I got you. George would have made several moves already. Oh, politics out of this. So is that what the Brandon thing is? Is that what this Brandon thing is? Steven Biasi? Chris Bryant. I could see him at the Nationals, yes. I would see them being aggressive silently because they need to build around Juan Soto. They do. Let's go, Brandon is the right wing chant. For what? Right wing chant for what? What do they have to chant for? Are they bragging about something? When are the last time they've done something good? Might have no chance on Olsen. Yeah. I think the A's are just going to milk this out. They're going to wait until somebody's willing to massively overpay. Brandon thing is political. That means F Joe P. Oh, really? What is that going to do? F Joe Biden. What the hell does that have to do with anything? It's political. It's about guns. Really? Guns? Oh, God, to make fun of Biden. Didn't Biden wipe the floor with Donald Trump? So, whatever. Whatever. They can do whatever they want. That's really that's not anything clever. So, yeah, it's all good. Boston traded with Brewery. Yeah, Hunter Renfroe and Jackie Bradley Jr. Texas, yeah, man. Texas made some big. Texas, the Mets, the Marlins have been quietly aggressive, and they made some moves, man. Michael Pineda, I mean, he's relatively durable. But it would be for the back end of the rotation. I still think Luis Castillo, if Rodon or both of them would be nice. Texas does need another pitcher. Don't be surprised if they get Clayton Kershaw because he's from Texas. So, Chris Bryant is from Vegas. His wife's from Vegas. Huge family guy. But said hundreds of times he wants to close to home. He's going to a West Coast team. We'll see. We'll see about that. It's going to suck to have to wait so long. Yeah, it's going to stink, Chris. You're right. At the end of the day, I think he might be a Boris guy too, so he'll go where the money is. I was surprised they traded Renfroe too, man. Yeah, Texas has Jon Gray. Yep, they brought in a bunch of guys, man. They got better. That's for sure. Michael, at the end of the day, I don't think they signed Correa. I think they're going to sign Trevor Story. I think Correa is going to go to Boston or Philly. I just hope it's Philly, not Boston. But Tigers are still a dark horse to me. They really are. Texas is Dodgers. He's fine. Yeah. Kike, but Kike is versatile. So I think the Mets make more moves. Yes, I do. They're not done yet. They need a reliever and maybe another guy. So the Rays are moving to Vegas. Are they? Well, Tampa's awful. What do they average? 150 fans a game. So that would be a logical move. They get more fans out there, that's for sure. Stanton and Torres extra flew more for Showtime. Yeah, man. It's possible to trade it. Well, if they bring in Correa, then they're going to move Didi, I think, immediately. So, it just makes sense too. I don't want to think about Correa going to Boston. That would suck really bad. Really bad. We'll see. Tampa, if anything, we move to Montreal. Yeah, it's possible too. I heard Montreal too. I did hear something like that. So Correa goes on the team and has forgotten, dude, Cano just did himself in, man. Just did himself in. But the Yankees dodged a bullet there too, man. They really did. They dodged a bullet, man. Kenny Rogers. Oh my God. Yeah. He gives up on the Yankees. Really, yes, they do need pitching, man. That's for sure. Nashville, Tennessee, wow. Tijuana. Bring back the Expos. The Expos would be awesome, man. I really enjoyed watching the Expos. And they had Guerrero, they had Pedro Martinez and Randy Johnson in the team at the same time. So, Conforto rumor to Seattle. I could see that. Steve Biasi. Correa should have went to Texas for that money. Don't be surprised. I'm not ruling out back to Houston yet. I'm not ruling out Detroit either. So, but Boston deep pockets, Philadelphia deep pockets, and both of them are aggressive. They need to make a move. So, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. It really did. It really will. Brandon is Joe Biden's son. Brandon, okay. Brandon, Joe Biden's son. Yeah, seriously. Expos would have been I think the Expos would have played the Yankees in the World Series in '94, Emmanuel. I agree 100%. They had a great team, a freaking fantastic team. Nothing yet on this Japanese center field. I know he was posted. I did some interest, but I haven't heard anything yet. Who knows if the Yankees might pounce on him. He won't be a ridiculously expensive option either. So They've done well with Japanese players before, with Tanaka and Matsui. So they've done some good things before. Texas is pitching too. Yeah, I mean, look, they're in the West. The West is really active, and if the A's clean house and the Astros lose Correa, then Texas is gonna be right up there, man. And it might even give openings for the Angels too. And I think the Angels are not done yet either. So Hiroki Kuroda too. Yes, he was underrated, but really, really good for the Yankees. Really, really good for the Yankees. Should not be doing that. Only shot while playing political. Yeah, people have nothing better to do with their time. So Correa's talked to the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, and Cubs, Braves, according to. Yep, he has. Oh, Keiga was a disaster. I remember that one, Udall. Oh, disaster. They do need a bullpen, Texas, yes. Nothing happens with Suzuki. He can't sign with any major league teams, Ola. He's just in holding pattern, having to wait. They can't do anything. They can't sign anybody, unfortunately. So Stroman. I mean, Stroman's with Chicago now. He signed a 3-year deal. It's like $71 million or right around there. After the lockout, I mean, Michael, I think they have to get the shortstop done. They have to get a number 2 pitcher in here. I see them making probably 2 trades to fill some holes, and then maybe a couple of different role players. But I think it's going to be somewhat underwhelming, unfortunately. Irabu, he's dead, actually. He hung himself, Hideki Irabu, unfortunately. But he was a tough dude. It didn't pan out in the Bronx, unfortunately. Texas now will add pitches before Cashman does. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Hulk Hope. Not surprised at all. Really. I mean, so how much are the Yankees offering Judge? I mean, I don't know. Personally, Jeffrey, I would offer him 6 years. 6 years, 210, which is 35 per year, with a 7th-year option to make it like 240 or something like that. But at the end of the day, I think somebody's going to. Hideki Irabu, former pitcher from the Yankees, hung himself a couple years ago. Ola. Yep. Committed suicide. And they used to call him the Japanese Nolan Ryan. But I think at the end of the day, Judge, somebody's going to give Judge like 9 or 10 years, I think. At the end of the day, I think somebody's going to. And he'll go where he's going to go where the money is. So I'm confident of that. Yeah, it's crazy, man. It is crazy. Not much, Mike. I mean, Carlos Rodon's out there. And no one else really in the free agent market, just in trades. Volpe, I think, is untouchable. Kyle, resign Roderick Arias because of his versatility. I mean, he could play second, he could play third. And if you have Arias who pans out as a shortstop, then you could still keep Volpe. So I don't think he would be expendable yet. And Arias has to progress through, because he's young too, so he'd have to progress through the system just like Jason Dominguez would. And Volpe's just rocketing up the system. And he's excelling everywhere. So they would have to do the same thing. And I think Volpe's going to basically force them to play him. It's going to be in one of those situations like Soto and Juan DeFranco. You can't keep him down. He's way too freaking good. It's very sad, man. And Kershaw, too. That's right, Nick. That's right. Thank you. Arias. Well, we don't know yet, Hirsch. I mean, if he can move to center field, maybe. He's just super young, so. But I do think it's really, really important to teach draft picks how to play a second position. It makes them more versatile. It makes the team more versatile. So, and the farm more versatile, whether it be on here or in trade pieces. So, I think somebody's going to give Judge 10 years too, and I think it'd be stupid, honestly, for the Yankees to do it at 31 years old. Mike from the ad, what's up, man? Thank you so much, bro. A trade just happened. Is this the Boston Brewers one, Mike? Hunter Renfroe to the Brewers for Jackie Bradley Jr. Thank you so much for that, Mike from the Ave. Is that the one you're talking about? We were just talking about that. Let me check and see here. What else do we have here? What kind of trade are you talking about, man? That's a relatively significant trade, the Brewers and Red Sox. So that one, yep. Thank you for pointing it, man. Let me see the details here. Just says the Red Sox and Brewers have orchestrated a last-minute trade, sending Hunter Renfroe to Milwaukee in exchange for Jackie Bradley Jr. and 2 prospects. Infielders David Hamilton and Alex Binelas. So 3 for 1. Renfroe out and 3 guys in. And, yep. I mean, it's, I would have kept Renfroe if I were them, but oh well. I think the Brewers are going to win that trade. I agree with you. Anthony. There's still a lot of guys out there, Steven. There's like almost 200 and plus guys available, but not any one of them represents a fit for the Yankees, obviously. But Jackie Bradley Jr. He's got a relatively, he got signed for quite a few years with the Brewers, but this is definitely a win for the Brewers. I mean, but they're serious about going for it too. So I don't see them trading Josh Hader either. So Seymour, Bronx Bomber 447. Bronx Bomber 447. That's me. Let's see what else we got. Any last minute stuff here? Let's check out the Yankees official news here. Yankees official Twitter here too. See if there's anything here. Red Sox, yeah, I mean, this is a win for the Brewers, man. I'm with you there. Charlie, no, I'm just tired, man. Tired. I have 2 young daughters who wear me out all day. And I have this light glaring at me. So I'm setting up my spot downstairs in my basement. I just moved into a new house. I'm going to have a whole YouTube kind of area like Derek does in his channel. So I'm not there yet. So this is unfortunately the spot that I'm in. But sometimes I go outside and do videos and things like that. But it's dark out right now, so I can't go outside. You won't see me at all. But let me see if there's anything that's happened here. Lockout. Yankees are nothing here. I was at the baseball game before the strike. Yeah, man, I was at that one too. Lockout. Hopefully, no. Hang on here, guys. Let's see. I'm looking through it. No, nothing. There's some football coach changes. I mean, Riley from Oklahoma is at USC, and Brian Kelly left Notre Dame to go to LSU. So that's the major sports stuff. And then a couple other ones today on the channel I put out. But aside from that, it's been relatively quick. And one of the main reasons why a lot of the stuff hasn't happened today is because it's hard to get a deal done and pass a physical in the same 24 hours. Like Stroman, he agreed today, but he went there yesterday. He flew out yesterday and took his physical and did all that stuff. And then they finalized everything else. He was already out there a day in advance. So they are in trade talks with Oakland, but that's been ongoing for a while. But Oakland is just going to wait this out. And you think the Yankees will wait for the CBA? Yeah, it looks like that. It looks like that now. So, I mean, they better strike pretty hard when this lockout's over. That's for sure. 10 years and 10 peanuts for Gardy. That's about right. Yeah, Ralph. Manhattan. Yep. Yankees fire Cashman. No, I don't, Michael. I don't. I don't. Yeah, he's just too close with Hal. I don't see it happening, unfortunately. So it's I don't see it happening. I mean, unless Theo Epstein's available, but I don't think Theo Epstein would take it here to be a yes man for Hal. I don't think he would ever do that. He'd want carte blanche and power. You'd have to give it to him, but I don't see them doing it. Hungry for a shortstop, so he wants for life. Yeah. Really enjoying these updates here. We'll stay on just for a few more minutes until the deadline if you guys want to. We only have like 6 minutes left and see if anything pops up. 10-year deal, $250 million to play shortstop for Cashman. He's athletic, He's a little pudgy, but I think he might be able to handle it. The third baseman Ramirez signed with the Blue Jays. Jose Ramirez is not a free agent. He exercised his option. He's got 2 more option years with the Indians. So the Blue Jays have not signed a third baseman. That's why I see them as potential contenders for Chris Bryant, who they could plug over there, and he could play the outfield too. So, well, he's been posted. No, I think Big Drake. I think he'll wait until the lockout's over to become here. Once they posted him, it's been confirmed that he wants to come to the major league. So, I think he'll wait it out. Unfortunately, so it's only no other no other option to do. But I think they'd be stupid to have a lockout that's going to go into the season or even spring training. They'd be foolish to do that. Absolutely foolish. Yes, I mean the news broke. They voted unanimously, Danny, to make the lockout official. Make the lockout official. The lockout could last weeks. It could last months, honestly. But there's still quite a few things that they need to agree on. Brian, it's your boy. I appreciate that, bro. Cheers to you, bro. Cheers to you, man. I want to keep it enjoyable and keep this fun throughout the lockout to keep us engaged and keep you in the know on anything. So I'll definitely be doing that. No doubt, man. Torrey, man, yeah, Torrey was a god here. He was a god here. But when he came here, they called him Clueless Joe. They were like, he's not the right guy. This guy isn't shit. But like, look at him. He had a hell of a run with the Yankees, man. $250 for 7 years, Judge. That's 35 million per year, 245, just over 35 million per year. That Peter C, that'd be extent that I would go for Judge. 7 years is my limit. I like 6, but I don't think that's going to happen. John Butts, I get a lot of people telling me I look like Cashman. I have people telling me I look like Cone too. You give him the hybrid between the two. Thank you, Michael, man. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate the congrats, bro. I'm going to keep this rocking and rolling, man. I'm going to keep this rocking and rolling. I thank you all for the support, man. Thank you all, man. You guys make this channel special. You really do. The Clueless Joe had, yeah, hold on. I mean, he dealt with it. Like when Tino came here, they hated Tino because he was replacing Don Mattingly. They booed the shit out of him until he had his moments. Like, and then all of a sudden he became a Yankee hero. So he was a great Yankee, Tino, man. Fantastic Yankee. So, breaking talks over early in the day. I don't think anything of significance is going to happen now, but I'll just hang it out. There's only like 3 minutes left. So, yeah, it's kind of a confusing trade, Gerald. I mean, it's going to benefit the Brewers, I think, more than the Red Sox. That's for sure. If I could have any coach, who would I want? I like Boone, but I just don't think he's the right guy here now. Thank you, boss man. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it, Butts. Appreciate that, man. Any coach, who would it be? I would have been cool with Melvin, who's at the Padres now. It'd have been Joe Madden would be pretty cool. I guess Showalter, but I think he's a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if he might be a little bit old for these guys, but I would still take him. Girardi. I would have stuck with Girardi too. Guys like that. We do need somebody at first who can pick it, no doubt about it. I mean, Olsen and Freeman are those two guys. They're glove Houdini. And Rizzo's a glove Houdini too, but he's my third choice for first base. Well, he was a good Yankee. And he was a good Yankee. Austin Romine, yeah. Imagine the Yankees get Story, trade for Hader, trade for Mullins, and get Freeman. Raven, that would be a nuts offseason. But I would not be offended at all. At all. Opinion about Giants signing. I think it's, a good depth piece, Robert. They re-signed some of their starters already, and they brought in Cobb, so they're bringing in depth to offset, the loss of some guys. I mean, Cueto's not coming back, and so they want to restock that to surround Logan Webb. So they're losing Gausman. So, and Udall, peace, brother. Thank you, man. As always. Girardi, Girardi's a bulldog, man. He's a bulldog. This is, like I said, this is more of the Bronx Country Club than the Bronx Zoo. Really. More, it's just Matt Scherzer. Actually, you want to see something? You want to see something, Zick? Zick Pranks, check it out. Check it out, bro. Since you mentioned Matt Scherzer, I got something for you. I got something for you, baby. Hang on 1 second. I'm going to find it here while the clock goes down another minute for this deadline. Hang on, brother. Hang on. I actually have a photo with Matt Scherzer in my phone here. And I have a couple of photos. I have a photo with him. I have a photo. Me and Sarah. Boom. Me and Sarah, baby. 161. I'm working on that, Ola. I will. I'm looking into. I have a friend who makes shirts. I'm trying to get it so that it's a affordable option for everybody. But I'm gonna make a couple of different pieces like T-shirts and stuff. Maybe a hat too, but at the very least, 2 different T-shirts on merch. I'll keep you updated on that. But I want to get something pretty tight. So, UFC River half. Well, this is my man Kimbo Slice. They got a couple people here. I have a I have a couple of different black belts in martial arts, so I'm familiar with a lot of these guys. Worst player in MLB? Oh God, that's a good question. Give me a minute. Yeah, Kimbo is dead. Unfortunately, passed away a few years ago. One of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, ever. He was such a sweetheart. I think Freeman will wind up staying with the Braves. Why do I have Hapkido, Tungsudo, and Jiu-Jitsu? Butters. Interested in on Freeman, but it said, yeah, it's his decision to make. If the Yankee, I think the first team that gives him a 6-year deal at his price, he'll probably go for. So if the Braves do it, they do it. The Yankees do it, I think he'll wind up coming to the Bronx. If somebody else does it, I think he'll go there. The first team to give him a 6-year deal, I think he'll go with. So imagine Stanton on steroids. Yeah, he didn't. Yeah, I get it. Dietrich, I mean, he got released, and I don't know where he is now, honestly. Let's do one last check because we have reached the deadline. And let's see where we're at here. Anything that pop in. Let's check the Twitter feed before we wrap up for the night. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me here. Olsen's the guy, but I think the A's are going to wait this one out and to see if somebody would give him their absolute best offer. So, no. Nothing here on anybody. Bradley, yeah, but Milwaukee, we know that. Hunter, yeah. Nothing right now. They're both effective for self-defense, Butters. I mean, every martial art piece, both martial arts are effective in their own way. It depends on how you adapt well to them and the quality of instruction and the community around you. So they're both very potent, Butters. I do another Korean art called Hapkido, which is primarily better than joint locks. It's nasty. I have a 3rd-degree black belt in that too, and a 3rd-degree black belt in Tungsudo. The Hapkido is nasty, man. It's absolutely nasty. They're all designed for the street. So, but yeah, the Braves are checking on Olsen. I think they would acquire Olsen pretty quickly in the trade if Freeman walks. So, I'm going to make videos during the lockout. This channel is not going on lockout, gang. So I'm going to keep you fed in on everything. So, but let's wrap it up for the night. Cashman put it I want to appreciate you all for coming on and staying with me. That's what we have for the lockout. We stayed through the lockout deadline. So I want to thank you for being with me too while we cross the 6,000 subscriber barrier. Cheers again to all of you. Happy Hanukkah for those that celebrate Hanukkah. We'll be here Saturday if you guys are around. So have a great week. And I'll be posting stuff later on this week. So whatever I find out tomorrow overnight, I'll be putting it out. So good night, everybody. Over and out. Peace.